if you would guess between 11 and 13, that is correct. So let's take a look at our program here and see what's wrong, and try to take a look and see what's going on in this program. So first off, let's start at the top. Task main, open, close, parenthesis. That looks good. Remember, our task main needs to have an open and closed curly brace. So I can see right at the beginning here I have an open curly brace. We move into a while control structure, which allows us to loop our program. Let's take a look and see what our condition is for the while. So we're trying to look at and say that while the limit switch is pressed, I want you to loop the code between here and here. But it's not quite written properly. First off, we need to capitalize the S and the V in center value. And I also want to have two equal signs here so that I'm checking to see if it's pressed, not assigning a value to it. Right? Remember, one equal sign is going to assign a value to something. And last but not least, we need to get rid of the semicolon, because with that semicolon there, it's going to read this as one line of code, not really loop it, it's just going to keep moving on. Okay? Every while structure is going to have an open and closed curly brace, and that allows us to see where the code is looping. If this is true, I want you to loop the code between here and here until this becomes false. As we move in within our while here, we can see that we have two choices here. We have two paths that we could take. If this is true or if this is true, I want you to run this code or this code. Let's see how we did. So one of the first things we can see here that the center value is also needs to be capitalized. And we need to make sure that we have the two equal signs. Okay, so if the bump switch is pressed, I want you to run the code here. Okay, first thing I want you to do is start what? Start the motor. Which motor? The right motor at half power, semicolon. Wait 5 seconds, semicolon. Stop the motor, right motor. And here's something that a lot of times I find people will do. They'll put in a power, but when you say stop motor, it knows cut the power to that motor. We don't have to tell it what the power is. Okay, so if this is true, we'll do this. If it's not true, anything else that could happen, we're going to do this. So with else, you need to remember that there's no condition. A lot of people want to put a condition in here, but else is saying anything else in the world that could be happening, you're going to run this line of code. All right, so let's take a look at the code. Start motor, right motor, -63. So we're turning the motor the other direction. We're reversing it. Wait 5 seconds, throw in a semicolon. Stop motor, right motor. Again, let's get rid of the power. Okay. One of the last things we want to do here is make sure we can double check our curly braces here, see if we have enough of them. So one thing I like to use is a magic wand. It's going to help organize things. And our open and closed curly braces should be on the same column. Right? The open should answer the closed. So what I'm going to do here is take a look. My task main, the first column, as I slide down here, I notice that there's no curly brace answering that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a closed curly brace in there. Okay. Look at my while. It says, okay, if this is true, I want you to loop between the open and closed curly brace. Here's my open. If I move down the column, there's my closed. So I'm looping all of this. My if says, if this is true, I want you to loop between open and closed. My else says, if this is true, I want you to run through the code between here and here. And let's go ahead and compile. I'm going to hit F7 just check, see how I did. And it appears I have one little mistake here. See how the yellow X pops up? Yellow X is going to tell us that the code is okay, but really this M should have been capitalized. It'll still allow it with the yellow X, but it's better if it's actually capitalized. That's what it's looking for. So I'm going to hit F7 again, and now that's corrected and looks good.